Hello, folks. How are you doing? I am Scott. Today is the 15th day of June, 2023. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. And I'm not feeling so good. So I wasn't going to make a video today, much less two, but that's where we are. So let's get on with it. Yesterday's video, day before yesterday's video, I talked about the image of what appears to be George Herbert Walker Bush, Poppy Bush, standing up on the wall, leaning up against the wall of the Book Depository building in Dallas, Texas, on that fateful day. That is the image. And that image, unbeknownst, that's a Texas School Book Depository, that image, unbeknownst to Time magazine, when they published it, holds a very unique fucking clue. They say, well, Scott, that might look like him. Yeah, like that image of fucking Jeffrey Epstein on his island 3 weeks after he died. Yeah, it looks like him because it is him. We'll get... Just wanted to clear that up a little bit. We'll get to this in a second. Hi, guys. Not feeling well. I'm not. It is what it is. You have good days and bad. So I really wasn't going to do something. But then some shit happened, and I was, all right, I got to. So, 2 short videos, as short as I can make them. You know me. I'll do my best. To start off with, we're going to start with propaganda. We're going to start with the effectiveness, but they're both in terms of propaganda, and they're both dealing with people who are in the alt community, or at least at one time were. They're laying on the propaganda thick now. They have to, because they have an agenda, and because they see that fucking slipping from the grip. And so they're going to have to do what they can to gin up support for whatever agenda they have going. And I talked the other day about one particularly nasty set of groomers using children, using elementary school kids, turning them into influencers, finding elementary school kids who are talking and doing this kind of thing, but doing it on TikTok and doing it on fucking Twitch. 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. These people are approaching them, convincing them, grooming them, paying them, and them coming out and pushing the fucking new Green Deal, shit like that. I failed to remind you of an image I put together years ago. And that's this one. The Young Human's Guide to Protecting the Planet and Each Other. How to Change Everything. New York Times best-selling author Naomi Klein. With Rebecca Steeroff. I wonder if she's actually out of the World Economic Forum. That's not a coincidence, boys and girls. That was published February 2021. Published November of 2020. Was Time Magazine's cover. Talking about the Great Reset in November of 2020. Remaking the world. Look at the fucking construction workers on a scaffold. On the one to your right. On the one to your left, you have children construction workers wearing tool belts, holding plants. An African American with a fucking plant. An African American with a plant. And a shovel, and a fucking shovel. You have one putting a whole section in place. This would be plagiarism if it wasn't approved. If it wasn't done by the same people. This is Naomi Klein. She also wrote No Logo and Disaster Capitalism, Shock Doctrine. I want to show you something interesting about both of those books. Okay? I want to show you something interesting. And we'll get to him in a second. This is No Logo, 10th anniversary. And this is Shock Doctrine. These are the ones that put her on the board. Gave her credibility. She bought herself credibility with these books. And they are good, and I recommend both. But I want to show you something interesting. I just picked out 2 of her pro-New Green Deal and pro-World Economic Forum regime change efforts. This changes everything, and of course, On Fire, the burning case for a Green New Deal by Naomi Klein. This is Shock Doctrine. It was published by Picador. This is No Logo. These are the 2 that got her fucking credibility. Produced by Picador. This Changes Everything. Produced by Simon & Schuster. On Fire. Published, not produced. I'm sorry. Published by Simon & Schuster. The same Simon & Schuster that publish all of the China Did It works of our current alt media heroes. The truth about Wuhan, how I uncovered the biggest lie in history, how he told one of the biggest lies in history, Dr. Andrew Huff. The Wuhan cover-up. How U.S. health officials conspired with the Chinese military to hide the origins of COVID-19. Robert F. Kennedy. And, of course, lies my government told me. Robert Malone. All looking like the front covers designed by the same person. All fucking brought to you by Simon & Schuster, who also does Naomi Klein's World Economic Forum supporting propaganda books, as well as they published the CIA World Fact Book. That's not something that just uses the CIA in the title. That's put out by the Central Intelligence Agency. What a coincidence that all of fucking Naomi Klein's propaganda outlet books and propaganda efforts are brought to you by Simon & Schuster, the same fucking people that will publish these alt community fucking leaders as long as they tell you China did it. That's what you have there. Isn't that interesting? Now, and you can go look at yourself. It's not going to change anything. These are just facts. Back before she sold out, she published under a different publishing house. Now, let's talk about, for 1 second, the effectiveness of propaganda and how insidious it is. This is The Critical Drinker. I like his stuff. He's funny. He's got a good sense of humor. It's biting. It's sarcastic. He's either Scottish or Irish or one of those fucking two. I don't know. I'm guessing he's fucking Scottish or Irish. Who knows? Who gives a fuck? But he does good work. He recommended The Menu, which is a film that I just happened into about 4 or 5 months ago, and I thought it was very good. He does as well. I have no problem with him. Typically what he'll do is the same shit I joked about yesterday. And that is, I told you that I could make $1 million fucking dollars if I just started pointing out all the goddamn IPs and the old IP and the IPs and the MCUs and all of these fucking things are being run into the ground by this woke, quote unquote, culture going on in Hollywood, and destroying these intellectual properties that stood for something for so long, so many years, by emasculating the fucking protagonists of them, sending the wrong message, making them accessible to a modern audience, that kind of shit. I told you I could fucking make $1 million a year doing that shit, and I'm pretty sure I could. That's what he does, typically. But out of nowhere and out of the fucking blue, he comes along and does a war pick. And more importantly, he does Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. And he says it's more than just a war movie. You're right, dumbass, it is. Critical drinker. The Covenant is set in Afghanistan for the first part of it, where this cocky fucking army guy or marine guy is running around, Jake Gyllenhaal, and he has lost his translator. He got killed, and then he gets a new one. And the new one is that gentleman sitting behind him right there. And of course, what happens? The new one saves the day. Oh, there's a big fucking firefight and everyone gets killed except Jake Gyllenhaal. But the new fucking translator defends him against the evil Taliban. Evil Taliban. He kills off the evil Taliban, people from his own country, and puts Jake Gyllenhaal in a fucking bucket, a wheelbarrow, and carries and drags him across the fucking desert sands and through time and over fucking the Himalayas and down, and saves his life. Then what happens? We gotta go. Okay, Jake goes back to his beautiful wife, and we leave the fucking translator there sitting there like a puppy at the end, and we take off. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Plays in the background as he takes off. So, of course, what happens? Jake sits around drinking all the time and getting mad at his wife, and he hates himself. Why? Because he left his glorious friend behind, the guy who saved his life. And according to the critical drinker, this is about the bonds you make in fucking war and combat and bullshit. You stupid fuck. I'm going to call you the fucking dumbass drinker now, not the critical drinker. It's about propaganda. They want to go back to Afghanistan. They've got to start building up because, listen, they're going to run out of fentanyl. They need to get those fucking poppy fields going again. And we still need the Trans-Afghan pipeline. That's why we were there in the first goddamn place. Carpet of gold, or what? Carpet bomb you to hell. That's the plan. That's the offer they made them, the Taliban, in Dallas in 2001, June of 2001. That shit happened. They didn't go with the carpet of gold, so they got carpet bombed instead. That shit happened. Look it up. Here's the thing. People get involved in shit that they have no business getting involved in. They run their mouths about shit they really shouldn't talk about. This isn't about, all quiet on the Western Front. This is pure 100% unadulterated propaganda. I covered this when we were leaving, and the whole push was, what about the 15,000 translators we're leaving behind? These aren't translators. We didn't need 15,000 goddamn translators. Believe it or not, we have people who go to fucking school here in the United States who sign up for the military, and they can speak the fucking language. We didn't need 15,000 translators. What we needed with 15,000 mujahideen. We needed killers. And more importantly, and he does call he collaborated with us, so 15,000 collaborated with us. Yeah, there's a word for that. When you work for and with an illegally occupying fucking entity in your country on their behest and at the price of your own people in your own nation, they call you collaborator. You are a collaborator. That's what you are. I.e., Nazi collaborator. I.e., American collaborator. We hang people. We hang people in this country for doing that. And this movie by Guy Ritchie is just pure propaganda. Let's go back and save our translators because they risked their lives for us. They did. Yeah. And they bombed shit for us. They bombed their own people for us. They won't be, as Guy Ritchie points out, they won't be fucking welcomed with open arms by the Taliban. Would you? Seriously, would you? Whatever country the critical drinker's in, would you? What did the Irish do with people who were collaborating with the British back during the Troubles? How'd that work out for them? And now you're pushing this shit. What I'm glad to see, though, is this. He's got less than 400,000 views on this. This is a guy with 1.7 million subscribers. And he earned them. He's good. 2.2 million views on the Indiana Jones one. 1.4 million on the strong female character video. Even 600,000 on a movie that nobody watched called The Menu. And 400,000 on this. Here's another example. Moon. I like Moon. I like what he's done as well. I talked the other day about this Apple Vision Pro thing where it puts up these things in front of your face and it's a translucent fucking stupid pair of VR goggles. Jesus Christ. That was Moon, by the way. They did a thing called Reddit collapsing. Now, again, this is just a little side note, just to show you that the propaganda, especially in the alt community, and in places you wouldn't expect it, like the Critical Drinker and Moon, it's becoming more and more prevalent. Not just in the mainstream media or even the alt media. It's also branching out to 8-year-old fucking influencers. Thanks to people like, people who collaborate with Naomi Klein. Moon did a video on the collapse of Reddit. And of course, you can't talk about Reddit. No one can do a documentary about anything anymore without going all the way back to the birth of this individual or whatever the fuck it is, because that's the fucking cookie cutter stereotypical. If you watch a documentary about Brock Lesnar, they always got to start with where he was born, what he looked like. Here's a picture of him with a fucking horse. Here he is stepping in cow shit. No one gives a fuck. You want to know what happened from college when he was a fucking NCAA, 2-time NCAA fucking All-American and one-time fucking NCAA heavyweight champion until then. Start with that. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you people? Anyway, Moon does a documentary on the Reddit situation. And he does the same thing they all do because it's all cookie cutter rote bullshit. And he starts at the beginning with Reddit. And so, of course, that's when my ears perked up. He mentions Aaron Swartz. Now, it's going well for about 30 seconds when he's giving the rundown of what happened to Aaron Swartz. And then he just drops it and goes on. It's all well and good till he gets to that hanging ending. He says, oh yeah, the prosecutors, he was facing all these years and he killed himself. Hey, Moon, in case anybody sends you this or gives you a link to this, dumbass, take the time. If you're gonna do a documentary and you're gonna fucking go all the way back when you don't need to go all the way back because that's the cookie cutter fucking rote system that everybody else does, so you gotta do it too. Do yourself a favor. Do a little fucking research. Okay? Prosecutors offered him 6 months. He refused it. 6 fucking months, federal case. That means federal time. That means in a fucking apartment, probably nicer than the one I live in. If not, home arrest. That's what the prosecutors offered him before he committed suicide, quote unquote, as you put it, because he was facing so much time. He rejected the offer. He wanted it to go to court. He wanted it to go to trial. Why do you think that is, Moon? Because he would win. He helped beat SOPA and PIPA. And he was almost single-handedly responsible for stopping what 800 major corporations wanted in the United States, which was CISPA. All about allowing fucking corporations to spy on everything you did, which would be the worst thing in the world for free speech, which is why he did it. 800 mega corporations sent representatives to Washington 3 weeks after his suicide to make sure that they all pushed for it and they got what they paid for. That's 800 mega corporations in the United States alone. Wanted what we have now, privatized surveillance state. Aaron Swartz was very good at opposing such things. And they found him hung in his fucking closet. Because, as you said, he was facing so much time. 6 months. If you're going to do that, if you're going to jump into these waters, then you can expect the big fish to give you a little brush by every now and then, can't you? Moon. But otherwise, good stuff from these guys. Let's get back to fucking Naomi Klein. Naomi Klein is tossing her fucking hooks into the fucking water when it comes to RFK Jr., my fault. She wrote something for The Guardian. Beware, we ignore Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy at our peril. Well, what should we do, Naomi? Should we have him arrested? Is that what we do to all candidates that bring up stuff we don't like talked about? We have them arrested, right? Isn't that right, Naomi? Should we have them arrested? On trumped up charges, pardoned upon. Is that what we should do? I'm so sick of Naomi Klein. I'm so sick of Naomi Klein. She is, without a doubt, the most disappointing sellout of our fucking time. And this Jordan Chariton, not Jordan Satchel, I'm sorry, that's next video. Jordan Chariton. This guy. This is the same guy who would walk around in front of his fucking, allegedly, I say that before, I know Jordan Satchel will sue me. He sued the Huffington Post. This sleazy ass bastard would sue me for my food stamps. But allegedly, I don't say allegedly, because I can say according to the woman who accused him, he was doing this thing on the side. He was working with the Young Turks and doing this thing on the side called, what the fuck did they call it? Some stupid fucking name. what did they call it? Truth Against the Machine. Jesus Christ. And he had the whole fucking crew of this thing in this fucking hotel room where they would he would fuck, and the co-worker who was like Carly Hammond had to fucking be in the same fucking room while he fucked. And he would regularly take showers and come out from the shower naked, his dick hanging out. And according to her, there was an incident where there was unwanted sexual contact made. And the story came out with Huffington Post. Of course, Jordan Chariton, the sleazeball he is, he's working for the Young Turks first. He's close friends with not only fucking Jimmy Dore back then, but also Cenk Uygur on a progressive site financed by neocon Republicans. That tells you anything. They fired him. TYT did sometime after this. And of course, he sued the Huffington Post. Don't know how it worked out. Don't care how that worked out. But they fired him because he was taking fucking funds from the TYT and using them to pay. Now, she was an unpaid fucking intern. This young woman was. Carly Hammond. When he fully expected to get his, to be able to take advantage of her. He fully expected to do that because he was giving her her break, her big break. Because he knew Cenk Uygur. But he was funding this thing with money from TYT. And according to TYT, he had admitted having a sexual relationship with her, Carly Hammond. Or maybe it was with the other person he was fucking. Wow. It was just fucking sleaze. It's just sleaze. And that's Jordan Chariton. He's just fucking sleaze. And here she is going after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His candidacy is at our peril. Oh my God. Ignoring him is not an option. She's pissed off because he's anti-vax. Or he's not anti-vax. Actually, he's he's pro fucking bodily autonomy. And so, of course, that's not something that sits well with either the UN now. I heard what's-his-face, Gutierrez, come out and talk the other day about, oh my God, we can't let the disinformation and misinformation across the countries that are signed up for the United Nations, we can't allow them to allow these things to be spread. That causes harm to us. That's violence. Especially, as Gutierrez pointed out, when the World Health Organization's fucking, it might as well be the World Economic Forum, when the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty is going to be coming into effect pretty soon. So according to Gutierrez from the United Nations, from the UN General Assembly, is he still president of that? Jesus Christ. According to him, we've got to get he held up a fucking pamphlet with a plan laid out. I'm sure also written by the same fucking people who wrote the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty. Somebody working for some company that's contracted out of the fucking World Economic Forum. Gutierrez was saying that we can't allow that. We can't allow people to discuss things freely on their own amongst themselves. So, wouldn't do to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. bringing bad thoughts up at the debates, according to Naomi Klein. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the same guy, by the way, whose books are published by her fucking publishing house, the publishing house she herself works for. which also, by the way, published CIA's World Factbook. She is the biggest disappointment and sellout, obviously the biggest sellout. I do recommend both No Logo and probably more so No Logo, but certainly Shock Doctrine. It's a very good book. I loaned out a copy of that to somebody. Good God, was it Jessica? It might have been Jessica. Anyway, flashback. When you get my age, you have those occasionally. Senior moments, they call it. This is how propaganda works. It is insidious, and it does filter down. It trickles down, if you will, into our everyday discourse. You see it all the way from Simon & Schuster down to YouTube. And you're going to see more and more of it. A lot more of it. And, you know, I think it's fair, unless somebody is, you know, proving one way or the other, willing to offer proof. I think it's fair that we assume these individuals are compensated for. That these people are, as the critical drinker puts it, collaborators. They are paid for their fucking efforts. Now, maybe with Moon, it was an oversight. Perhaps. But I don't think so with Critical Drinker. He's too fucking aware when he watches films, and as an art critic or as a film critic, he's too fucking aware. I don't think there's any possibility that the Critical Drinker watched that fucking film and didn't come away with, that's the worst piece of shitty propaganda. He even admitted it himself. I mean, the film, the production value of it looked like shit. The production quality looked like shit. Looked like they hastily took shots because they didn't want to continue paying for more. That's some Zero Dark 30 shit right there. That is. Just because this guy Ritchie, the cool guy, they went to the cool guy director, and then they went to the cool guy fucking film critic and got him to fucking give him a good fucking review. Must be nice being the cool guy and get paid just being the cool guy. Anyway, so that's the first video. That's Naomi Klein. She's at it again. She's going full in on becoming the next fucking Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see her running for office soon. She's going full on 100% Hillary Clinton. Only, at least she has a leg to stand on. She has a legitimate progressive anti-establishment leg to stand on, even though she's sawed it off and sold it to pay for her golden ticket into the establishment a long fucking time ago. Anyway, that's Naomi Klein, and my next video will be considerably shorter. I thank you for your time.